been a while since you've seen that intro, huh? It could even be your first time seeing that intro, but that is besides the point. Hello Neighbor. This year will mark the 10th year since the pre-alphas come out, which is kind of crazy to think about. Another crazy thing is it's going to be the 9th year since the mod kit first dropped, which is kind of crazy because that means I have been modding the game for 9 whole years. That's 1 year away from a decade. In that time, I have made a lot of mods. Most of them, if not all of them, in this video, you're never gonna see in a playable state. You're never gonna see them. They're never gonna drop. Which is why I thought it'd be interesting for you guys to see some of these projects that will just never see the light of day again. However, I will warn you that these projects did get canceled for a reason. So you will notice that some of them will dip in quality and some of them will just be okay. Most of them are bad. And starting off with the first one. Something you'll come to notice with these projects is that a lot of them are based on what I'm fixated on at the time, as Kidnapped is pretty much shamelessly copying Welcome to the Game down to, you know, people breaking into your home and you trying to solve codes or whatever. And another thing you'll notice is that these mods are so unfinished that you just have to take my word on what the story and like what the stuff planned was going to be, as I never even got far enough for most of these to even go into those phases yet. So you're just going to have to take my word for most of these, as it's been a while and also most of the maps for what I wanted to do just don't exist. I'll even have to probably theorize about what the stories were for some of these, as these go back to like 2020 when I wasn't like, you know, smart. So yeah. The mod would originally have you start out in a cellar as Kid Nicky, because why not? And you would have 2 vents on either side of you. If you went on the one to the left, it would take you to a dead end with a flashlight. But if you went to the one on the right, it would bring you to some shelves or some shit, which is cool, I guess. Whatever. And if you went through the door, it would take you to some creepy concrete hallway with some eyes and a mannequin in it, which is very reminiscent of File Unknown. If any of you remember that mod, it's like the exact same. I can't even lie to you. Then if you keep going down, there's some traps and the map just ends. From what I can remember while making this level originally, I wanted the neighbor AI to be here and you would have to hide from him. Very reminiscent of the waiting room from the Welcome to the Game series. Again, which is what this whole mod is based off of because I was super into it at the time. Not very original me, but whatever. The second level is the one that I personally remember the most, as it's literally just Welcome to the Game but Hello Neighbor. And you're essentially just in this house trying to push buttons until you find like a correct code to open up the laundromat across the street. I'm not sure why that's the main goal, and I'm not sure how it would help the player from escaping the neighbor that's breaking into their house, but what do I know? Unfortunately, that's where the maps end, as there's just a folder called Office with an empty level in it. And I cannot for the life of me remember what I wanted to do for the office, so that's it for Kidnapped. I actually didn't hate this mod. Looking back on it, it's one of my favorite ones, as the whole idea with the neighbor breaking into your home's pretty neat. Outside of the Welcome to the Game influence and how dated it is, if I could come back to the idea for something else, I probably would. Moving on to the next one. Break-In was my first Hello Neighbor mod coming back to the mod kit after a 2-year break, and it definitely shows. Most of the content that makes up this mod are extremely primitive remakes of old Hello Neighbor key arts that don't even really show off what the actual idea of the mod was going to be, so I'll try and explain it for you. During this time, I was extremely interested in the stuff that the Hello Neighbor Kickstarter was showing off, specifically in the stretch goals, where each time you'd start a new game, the house would be randomly generated. Obviously, nowadays we have a mod for that. It even randomly generates the basement, something the stretch goal didn't even say that it would do. But this mod came about 5 years later, where now mods are extremely ambitious. You have ones like Curse Retold and this one, which pushed the limits of what we thought we could do 5 years ago. I know 5 years ago, most mods just consisted of box brush houses and a bunch of recolored locks, so. Now, if I wanted to do randomly generated houses without having any blueprinting knowledge whatsoever, how would I do it? I didn't. The way I wanted to go through with it was extremely unorthodox and honestly inconvenient, as I would have 3 separate folders for the houses that you would play through, all of the houses being pre-made experiences that you would cycle through once you got into the basement, which is what I would say if I ever got around to making more than one level, and the first one isn't even finished. There is a second level, but it's completely empty, and the way these levels would cycle is through small, medium, and large. The way I imagined it in my head was small would be more, you know, average, small, wow, yeah, fucking of course. The way I imagined it in my head is small would be more of an average Hello Neighbor experience, like the Act 1 house, you know, 1 or 2 floors. Then medium would be pushing it at 4 floors. And then large would be, you know, while not at the level of the Alpha 3 concept art house, it would definitely be like 6 to 8 floors at max. Now, it seems a little obvious as to why this one got canned, as it was extremely ambitious, especially for its time, and I did not want to sit around making hundreds of pre-made houses when I didn't even know if people were going to like it. But yeah, a little bit of an off-topic note, the neighbor in the green shirt's name is Fred. I'm not sure why the community named him that, but his design is based off of this one concept art right here, as a lot of people were remaking that concept art at the time, and that's actually what kind of kickstarted the development of this mod. But to answer the question of would I put this in a new mod or maybe even a current one, the idea itself is great. I love the idea of going into the basement and then being put in either a new level that has 1 floor or maybe even 10. However, the amount of work that you'd have to go through to get this done manually is insane. I mean, you'd have to sketch out layouts that would be fun, make sure puzzles aren't too repetitive or whatever, and then, you know, obviously make the design work well with the neighbor's navigation. So while it is a really neat idea and I would love to revisit it, I'm being put off solely for the amount of work that would need to be put into it to get one demo done. And that's like saying the demo has maybe like 6 levels. But yeah, for some reason I made the ambience of the house super fucking loud. Take a listen to this.
It's a shame that...
But yeah, moving on to the next project. Desolate was more so a concept than a mod, and the only real contents that are in this project are just a visual test map and writings of what the mod was originally going to be. The environmental test is very reminiscent of the Half-Life 2 beta, you know, featuring a cracked floor and wreckages everywhere. Even though that's not really what the story of the mod was going to be, you wouldn't be playing in a, you know, a sucked up ocean that's just in the middle of a post-apocalyptic world. No, the idea was very different from that, actually. During this mod's conception, I had an interest in games that didn't connect directly, but they had this thing that binded them together thematically that I just can't explain. Stuff like Basilisk 2000, Akuma Kira's projects, Cry of Fear, even some Doom mods like Solace Dreams just kind of interested me at the time and made me wonder how I could connect these to Hello Neighbor in any way, shape, or form. The mod itself would have you playing as the neighbor, going deep into his own psyche to try and figure out something or come to terms with himself. And since you're playing as the neighbor, you're obviously not the most stable person ever, so everything would feel disjointed or not really right. And another big part of the neighbor's character is he doesn't really get over his own fears, he lets them consume him. So you would have to go and unlock these memories manually, even if he doesn't want to. And what I mean by that is the neighbor would try and force you out of these places in his head, these dark corners that he's blocked away for a reason. He's afraid of coming to terms with what actually happened, and he's obviously, despite you playing as him, hesitant to revisit these. And with a character as self-centered as the neighbor, I do think it would be extremely interesting to delve into these parts of the character, stuff we really don't see outside of a few lines in the books and such. Whether you think the neighbor deserves redemption or not, it's entirely up to you. Me personally, I don't think he does. But that's what this mod would explore. It's about if you truly think the neighbor is emotionally capable of moving on, or if he's just so stubborn he lets the past keep eating at him until there's just nothing left. Now, of course, for the big question, would I ever come back to this concept in a new light, or even just continue working on the one that I have right now? Absolutely. This idea to me is extremely fascinating, delving into corners of characters' minds that we really don't get to peek into more often, even though we should. A character like the neighbor is so flawed that he'd have so many things to explore, and we still wouldn't be done. I honestly have no idea why I stopped working on this one, as I was extremely invested into the idea of it, and it would have been a great entry in my projects, even if I only have 2 actually released ones. Now, in honesty, these projects are cancelled, yes, but that doesn't mean I'll never revisit the ideas of them, especially ones that I'm super invested in like this. You could see a new Desolate for all you know, but I do have a bunch of projects that I'm already currently working on, and I really don't want to overwork myself and get burnt out, as I've done that before and the feeling just kind of sucks. So yes, while it is a possibility, I don't know if it's going to happen anytime in the near future. Okay, I wanted to cut it off short as I understand this deviates a bit from what I usually make, and I just wanted to gauge what you guys thought of the video. I personally love showing off the things that I've made, even if they aren't finished. That's the whole reason why I make them, just to see what people think of them. And if you guys want a part 2, because I have way more mods to show off. I've made like 15 that I haven't released. Just let me know, because they get crazy. You know, let me know. I'd love to show them off. And I will make a part 2 to the alphas video. I just haven't gotten around to filming it yet because I've been extremely busy as of late. So yeah, that is why. Thank you guys for 2,040 subscribers. That means a lot to me. Doesn't sound like it, but it genuinely does. Thank you guys so much for that. I understand that I didn't make a video specifically for it. I feel bad for that. I'm sorry. I did want to. I don't know why I didn't, but you know, it's a bit late for that now. So if you could do me a favor and subscribe if you like this, sounding like a 2010s YouTuber, that's fine by me. Please do that. It helps me. It's free to do it. You know, stuff like that. Whatever. Bye.